Sage Wanderer here, and welcome to War Games. Would you like to play a game? So, I want to talk today about what will happen in the future with the Evil Say Orway, or the current unpleasantness. So, in previous videos, we've tried to talk about what they would do next. But let's go ahead and try to predict what might happen in response to their behavior. So, I just got done watching the big fight scene from the old movie from the 80s, The Bodyguard. It's one of the first movies that I defied my parents and snuck away to watch when I was young. And it is because I'm a bully buster, and I can totally relate with that movie. And there's a scene in it where the guy who has protected the little guy from being bullied, the bully goes and hires his own bodyguard, a bigger, meaner bully. And he starts to degrade and batter and smack around the bodyguard, the bully buster, as it were, and he just takes it while this guy trashes his motorcycle, beats him in the face. I won't go into why he decided not to fight, but eventually, when it looked like he was just whipped, when it looked like he was laying down for good, he finally stood up to the bully's bully, to the bully's hired gun, as it were, and proceeded to beat the crud out of him while also encouraging the younger boy to finally stand up to his original bully on his own and fight him and break his nose, which is that bully was played by Matt Dillon, a young Matt Dillon. But I said all that to say this, that the bully, the hired bully in that situation, really thought he was winning because the other guy wasn't fighting. The other guy had decided not to fight. He'd made a moral decision not to fight, and he had to be pushed to his absolute limit before he would finally succumb to his own violence and return violence with violence. And so I predict that that's kind of what's happening now. I surmise that the bullies within our government, the bullies on the progressive left side, the corporations, the school boards, the federal agencies, and even members of the military have been bullying us. We feel bullied. We've been bullied for some time. We believe that they destroyed our democratic method of electing our Republican and I should say our representatives in our representative republic. Let's get this straight. This is not a democracy. A democracy is the rule of the mob, and the talking points have been democracy, democracy, our democracy is at risk, our democracy, our democracy. This is not a democracy. This is a republic. A democracy is tyranny. Screw democracy. All of it. We have a republic where my individual rights trumps your democracy. I have a constitution in a republic that protects my rights. And if you violate the constitution, then it's war. Is war what you want? War's going to be what you get. Keep pushing. Keep pushing. So what would that look like in a war game? Let's war game it out. What might be the response to this kind of tyranny? This medical tyranny? This abuse of power within our federal agencies? This abuse of power within our own military? What is the answer? Well, I predict that good people, and this is what's happening, bullies of the worst sort, the most god-awful, horrible humans who really do not need to be allowed to walk around free, are occupying parts of our government, parts of our federal agencies, parts of our military, and it's good people who are being bullied. It's the good people who have done nothing. It's the good people who are sitting on their hands while they're being bullied, and it's because they've made a moral decision not to fight back. But make no mistake, they will fight back. They will crush you. You understand? You are outnumbered on a level that you can't even comprehend. Most of you dimwits don't even know how to do math up there at the federal government, or you'd balance the damn budget. Pardon my French. You'd do something around our country that'd be worth a flip, instead of just working towards deeper control and more tyranny. So y'all aren't very smart. Yay. So that's what happens when you put that was an explosion. That's what happens when you put a aerosol can in the burning barrel. So I'm assuming that nothing's going to catch on fire around there, but I'm about to bust over there and check it out. Living in the country, right? So I must have let an aerosol can slip in there. Hey, that was on video. Um, I'm not editing. I'm moving forward on this because I have a bee in my bonnet. You know, the federal government has authorized the FBI to go after teachers, school parents. Sorry, a little frazzled after the explosion there. They've gone after parents who are sticking up for their right to have some say in how their children are taught and how they're handled at school. And so now the federal government's been weaponized against us. And so what will happen when people have had enough? First of all, good people have a real hard time going straight into war mode. They tend to want to go into it incrementally, let it build. I ain't like that. You take a swing at me and you're going to get all I got right back at you. That's it. You take a swing at me and I'm going to pound you. I'm not going to play around. I'm not going to give you a second chance. I'm not going to try to talk you down. You take a swing on me and it's on. But not everybody's that way. A lot of people want to try to find a non-violent solution. So going after human beings is probably one of the last things that will start to happen. A lot of people think that's going to happen first. I disagree. I believe that the first thing will happen is destruction of property, destruction of government property, destruction of government buildings. Not asking for it, not calling for it. I'm simply predicting what happens next. I've been doing this for 4 years. I've been predicting this all along. And I'm telling you, the first round that you'll see of the Patriots fighting back against this tyranny is going to be the destruction of some property. And it's going to be rather immense, I'm sure. It's not going to be some little Pete Inkling stuff. Infrastructure will become a target. The cities and the leftist and the blue states, they run on technology. And the technology companies are in on it. So I suspect the technology companies might become a target. I suspect that the infrastructure that supports them, like cell towers and electrical grids and offices, that kind of thing will become targeted. That some people will show up to work to find their building burnt down. They'll show up to work to find the computers don't work. They'd like to call into work to see what's going on, but guess what? Their cell phone doesn't work. And that kind of thing is rather easy to succeed at. The destruction of private property is usually something people can do and get away with. Just ask Antifa, who have been burning down buildings and neighborhoods and getting away with it for some time. So it will not be, the first round will not be violence against humans. It will be destruction of private property. This will occur, in my opinion, in blue regions, blue states, especially blue cities within the state that is, for the most part, red. So you've got these red states, Texas, Oklahoma, Missouri, but yet they've got these blue cities that are trying to control them. And I think those people will become targeted first, their infrastructure first, and then the people. And not calling for it, just predicting it. Like, I'm out here in a cabin in the woods by myself. I'm not in charge of anything or controlling anyone. All I'm doing is trying to figure out what happens next. And I know this, that a lot of us are sick and tired of this bull. We're sick and tired of this crap. We're like up to here with it. You understand? Biden, when you say your patience is running low with those of us who won't kowtow to your tyranny, guess what? That works both ways, pal! Fire up the American patriot and see what happens to you. Purge the military of like-minded people like these SEALs that just quit, some 600 of them. They're going to be up your tail, you understand? They're going to be your primary problem. They didn't give up their career to go sit by and watch you tyrannize this country. All of you leftist progressives are on notice. Keep pushing. I'm telling you. You don't know what you're doing. You're poking a bear. When the killing starts, you can't bring it back. You understand, when the dogs of war are released, when the hounds of hell are on your ass, you're not going to be able to back it up. You're not going to be able to rewind it. You're not going to be able to undo it. And it won't just be your infrastructure, and it won't just be your officers. It's going to be all of the civilians who are involved in this. It's going to be all the mouthpieces that are talking crap, that are calling for all of this. All of you are going to be dealt with. I mean, Handmaid's Tale ain't too far off. I can see a day when people like you will be on a wall. I hope you're listening to the warning. Keep pushing, keep pushing, and you're going to get something you ain't even figured for. And your F-16s ain't going to help you. Just ask the Afghanis how much your tyrannical rule and your technology and your bombs did there. It didn't do anything but re-equip them. That's the thing. In Afghanistan now, I believe that the Afghan army, the Taliban, is now the second most equipped army on the planet when it comes to Black Hawk helicopters. There's only one more country that has more Black Hawks than the Taliban, and that's America for now. See, what will happen is if you declare war on this country, if you come after civilians, we're going to arm ourselves with your toys. I may get a strike for this. I don't care! We're tired of it! This is really not a game. This isn't even a warning or a threat. It's a prediction. I'm an expert on human behavior. I've seen it in the bar, and I've seen it in the church. I've heard your confession at the bar, and I've heard your confession in the confessional. And I can tell you, human beings will only take so much. And then you can't bring it back. So, it's a warning. It's a morality tale. You know, it's a definite prediction that they're not going to take much more. If the FBI starts going after parents for speaking their mind, then the FBI will have to deal with the consequences. And there will be consequences. Ain't coming from me. I'm going to sit out here and wait till you come for me. And then there'll be something to deal with when you come for me. Come for me, and we'll party. We'll dance. We'll have a good time. Yeah, we'll have an old school medieval good time. You understand what I'm saying to you? Come to Sage Wanderer's house, you fools. You deserve whatever it is happens to you. But there are other people that aren't going to sit by like me and be patient and wait for the war to come to them. They're going to bring it to you. You've trained them. Yeah, you feds, you trained them. You trained them how to go over there in foreign countries and deal with threats like this. You taught them how to fight an insurrection by exposing them to one. Them old boys over there learned a thing or two, and now you're kicking them out of the military. Smart move, Biden, you idiot. You moron. You brain-dead zombie. I hate to be one of these guys that sits around and fantasizes about this stuff. And part of it is a fantasy. I'm ready to see what happens next. I'm tired of this one-sided fight. We're there in that scene in The Bodyguard, which I will drop a link in the description so you can click over there and have a look. There's two scenes. One is where he takes it, and the next scene that I'll add there is where he goes and takes care of business when he's had enough. And so the American people have had enough. The Patriots have had enough. The people with military training, and weaponry, pilots, people who have done god-awful things on behalf of our government and our republic. And they're going to trash your attempt at turning this into some kind of mob-rule democracy. You know, there's a lot of judges right now that are making decisions that are against the Constitution in violation of their own oath, and they all should be removed from office and disbarred so that they can never participate in the process ever again. But I don't reckon that's going to happen. So if I was a judge, if I was a good judge, I would probably resign right about now. Because they're not going to care whether you're good or not. Judges are going to be on the list. There's judges on the list already. Everybody's got a list. Everybody who's taken your crap has a list. Y'all are stupid. When are you going to wake up and smell the coffee? That not only are you destroying our country, you're not going to get away with it. You're trying to violate human nature. I'll admit, this generation is filled with weaklings and cowards. It's why I walk through them like a man walking through tall grass. I just trample them under my feet. They can't stand up to me. Most people won't fight me, and when they do, they wish they hadn't. Because they're cowards. Our generation's raised a generation of cowards. You know, that little wimpy woman who talks about, who's an army officer, who had a viral video where she talks about how she's going to turn her guns on the American people. That's a two-way street, woman! That's a two-way street! Turn on us and see what happens next! You fools! You idiots! You morons! You self-destructing dumbasses. Y'all are going to get it. That's what happens next. That's what's next on the agenda. When the other side stands up, suddenly the fight don't look the same. And I can tell you one thing, we're fighting for our freedoms. We're fighting for our families. We're fighting for our way of lives. That's how it's going to be. We're going to be fighting for things we believe in, and you dumbasses are going to be fighting for a paycheck and your power. Who do you think is more motivated? In the end, the will of the people overcomes tyranny. Always. It always has. Tyranny never stands. It always ends with the tyrant swinging from a rope. God bless the new republic, because this one is shot.